Sorry. Not sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Do you say sorry for things you don't need to be sorry for? Or do you struggle to say sorry for something you are, perhaps, ashamed of? Then this is the episode for you.
Welcome to Love Life, featuring your host, Jane Donovan.
The sun shines bright as it moves across my face. I feel the light.
Sorry, could I please interrupt for a moment? Sorry, I can't. Oh, I'm sorry, you left your phone here. Sorry to ask, but... Sorry, I want to say that. Do you know someone who constantly says sorry? And I'm not talking about sorry for genuine reasons. This is the person who says sorry probably dozens of times every day. Sorry to the computer for hitting the wrong keys. Sorry to the person who bumps into them. Sorry is the first word out of their mouth. Well, that was me. And I had to learn to not say sorry. About 30 odd years ago, my beautiful auntie, a very cool and eccentric auntie, she had rainbow coloured hair, wore bright flowing caftans, and she was a really cool, successful exhibiting international artist who made stained glass windows for churches, cathedrals, and gorgeous places of spiritual worship. She started picking me up each time I said sorry. Initially, I was embarrassed by this observation. I was a ballsy, go-get-'em, nothing scares me, life of the party, 20-something-year-old. I wasn't that girl who apologised for the very air she breathed. And yet I had no idea this word was so strongly in my vocabulary, as in numerous times within one conversation. So what was I apologising for? My existence? Maybe back then I was, I'm not really sure. However, I don't think so. What I did have was a habit, one I had inherited from my beautiful mother. I'm so grateful my auntie Gull picked this up and highlighted it to me. Even though I was far from an example of shining self-worth, I did know I had no need to be saying sorry or apologising for being me. To this day, I see this habit in others, and when I gently say, "What are you sorry for?" usually the response is a bit glazy-eyed. It's almost as though they too realise they've got nothing to say sorry for. This is an actual thing. It's known as the Sorry Syndrome. Apparently women suffer more from this than men, probably due, I guess, to our nature. You know, we want to nurture and particularly keep everybody happy, the people pleaser. I also suspect, though, that this is huge for the highly sensitive people. It's a common trait, particularly prior to doing self-development work. Highly sensitive people will often feel as though they're doing things wrong, so therefore they're constantly apologising for that. Now this compounds with our empathy qualities and saying sorry to someone who's feeling something negative, you know, whether they're unhappy or sad, you're feeling their thing. And this compounds with our empathetic qualities, saying sorry to someone who might be feeling negative or feeling unhappy or feeling sad. The feeling of conflict for HSPs also has a very well-rehearsed default setting of sorry, just to keep the peace. And so starts the ingrained habit of saying sorry. I do, however, feel that this is directly related to self-worth. Keeping the peace, being kind, gentle, sensitive, placing others ahead of ourselves. You have to say sorry over and over again. So it's time to explore where the habits come from. What is the really underlying need to be sorry for? Is it so people accept you? Is it so you fit in? Is it so you avoid conflict? How is it that you could be changing this behaviour? Are there other words that you can use instead? That's the big one I used. I chose other words. I became more impeccable with my language. Ultimately, my vocabulary became more authentic and truth-speaking. So can the word sorry simply be dropped from the conversation altogether? I know a lot of times it was just such a habit that it didn't need to be there. It didn't even need to get replaced with any other word. Start to really notice when you are saying sorry. Sorry is a very powerful word, and it should be reserved for genuine, deliberate, connective communication. And it really is not a word to be overused. Whenever we overuse a word, it dilutes its power. It dilutes its authenticity. And if you find that you're still saying sorry more than you feel's warranted, then have a listen to the episode on the 4 agreements and really learn to speak your truth and be impeccable with your words. Now I want to move on to the art of saying I'm sorry. I feel these are powerful words that need to be sacred and used for really divine connection to another. We all make mistakes, we get things wrong, we cause other people pain. And a heartfelt apology, it's the most potent way to reconnect and heal relationships. Self-ownership of our faults, our flaws, our mistakes, well, I think that's one very sexy quality. And not just that, it gives safety and security to anyone that we are having a relationship with. You know, whether it's a partner, a friend, family members, co-workers, clients. So understanding that deep value of those 2 words and mastering the ability to offer a really heartfelt, genuine, deep I'm sorry to another person is crucial to continue ongoing successful relationships. Now here's a gorgeous story that showed up on social media a few weeks ago that I want to share with you about somebody who was having a bit of a bad day and she took it out on the poor guy, the barista at the coffee shop. Greetings, Starbucks barista. Yesterday at your drive-thru, we had a less than cheerful encounter, and no fault of yours. You were out of carriers, and you said you could not take my empty cup for trash. I was less than understanding, and my manner was curt. I need to apologize. The thought of leaving a trail of unkindness like that is so not the path I want to reflect. Not for you, and not for me. You're a young man, clearly working hard to build a future, and you should be commended. Keep up your attitude of cheer and hope. Stay hopeful no matter what kind of people cross your path or the drive-thru. Surely God has good blessings in store. You taught this old lady something yesterday about kindness, compassion, and staying humble. I thank you, Debbie.
It's time to hear from the Love Life Tribe.
Perhaps to go deeper, we need to look at our behaviour in a given situation. Now this I know it can be hard, however starting with the emotions that we feel, such as embarrassment, shame, guilt, fear, or anger. They can be a signpost to looking deeper at a situation and really shining a light on an area that we are yet to heal. Today we have beautiful Catherine from the Love Life Tribe joining us to share her story of I'm sorry. Who does she want to say I'm sorry to?
Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm from the UK and I would like to say sorry to my mum.
Oh, okay. Why?
Because she passed away when I was quite young and I have always been very angry towards her.
How old were you when your mum passed away, Catherine?
I was about 15.
That's a really tough age to lose your mum. Really tough.
Yeah, I think so, because you're a teen and you've got so many other things going on anyway and so many emotions going on, and I think everything's heightened. So I don't think I really let go of that angry teenager. So I think that's where a lot of it comes from at the moment, really.
Do you feel like, 15-year-old girls can be at their absolute worst. So do you feel like your mum left this lifetime with you being maybe not the nicest or best version of yourself?
Totally unrecognizable. So I wasn't even, just nothing, no relation to who I am today in any way. I wasn't interested in clothes. Like we never went shopping together. We never did. And now that's something that I would have loved to have done. You know, just little things like that. I think that she left feeling like I didn't support her, and that I think she knew that I was disappointed with her.
Okay, well, the first thing is on a spiritual level. She's on the other side. She's got all the wisdom now, access to understanding of everything. So she wouldn't be feeling that way at all now. That's impossible for her to feel that way now. The second thing is that she was deliberately raising a strong child, I feel. And she wanted you to be a strong, independent woman. And so she would know that a teenage girl or a teenage child, they are moving away from the parents. They are moving into independence. And to do that, they go up to battle with the strongest person in their life. Likely, it's the same gender parent.
Yeah. I mean, she was a total force of nature. Like, she was strong in all sorts of different ways, but in the negative way as well. So she was very difficult. Like, in a lot of ways, there were a lot of things that she struggled with. So that makes sense. I mean, now I can look back and I can understand so much more, and I can understand how my behaviour was really unhelpful for her, and I, you know, would want to have done everything very differently, and I know that, and I'm logically aware of that. But my default mode is to always go, well, you know, we didn't get on, so it's not something that I'm upset about. Or, yeah, it was sad, but, you know, she had a lot of trouble and a lot of problems, and, you know, I don't honour her at all, even now. And, you know, even now I'm aware of what she went through. I'm still not owning my role in it or her role in it. So,
well, it's very normal for a child to feel abandonment when a parent dies. In fact, nearly 100% of children will feel abandoned. And with that comes deep resentment and anger, hostility. And then there is the self-loathing as well. So that you've got the external of, it's not my fault. How dare you leave me? You haven't done your job. It's not fair. You know, all of that's going on, and that's completely normal. But then it can be flip-sided and internalized, where it is more about, if I was a better person, she would have stayed. If I hadn't been this horrible teenage child, she would have stayed. I pushed her away. I'm not lovable. My mother would have stayed if I were lovable.
Yeah, that's a really big thing, I think. I mean, she was an alcoholic before, so I felt abandoned from a very, very young age. So from about the age of 7 or 8, and there was a lot of, you know, I don't understand why you're acting like this. I don't understand why you're a different person. And I there were quite a few times where I was the parent and she was the child. And there's so much there, like so much backlog history, that in a funny way, I understood that when she got sick physically and passed away, it was like a really big relief for everybody. Because she was just fighting these demons for so many years, like just, it was ridiculous. And then when she found out that she was terminally ill, she changed. Like all of a sudden those things that she was trying to drown out, all of a sudden actually in proportion, it wasn't a big deal. So I know that she actually found quite a lot of peace in that last year. But I don't think I did. So I didn't help her have that last nice year. Like I kind of just put more pressure on her, I think. So that's what's difficult, I think.
So you're feeling guilt?
Yeah. A lot of guilt. just knowing that I should have done it differently, and I should have been. Now I know that I'm kind of help a lot of people now, and I support a lot of people, and I never supported her, ever. I was either angry with her or telling her off, or, yeah, just never supported her when she actually probably was the one person that needed the most amount of support.
Do you feel ashamed for your behaviour?
I think on one level I feel like I was justified because of how she was. And then on a deeper level, yeah, definitely, I think.
Okay, because I feel this isn't, yes, your mum has played a role. She's played a lead character role in this story. But it is also for you to, we've got to get honest with ourselves at a deeper level of what's really going on. So we can justify, and I'm very good at justifying stories, so I get it, Catherine. I can justify the best story out. However, at the end of the day, it's still a victim story. And we've got to move away from that, don't we? So it's one that we all have deep compassion and sympathy for you, to have experienced that. And there's a lot of, it makes sense joining the dots of, well, this led to this behaviour, which then led to this chapter of my life, etc. But really, at the end of the day, it is you looking at guilt. It's you looking at the words ashamed, embarrassed, resentful. It's looking at those deep shadow words and going, just pick one and let's heal it around this situation. So the one of guilt.
Yeah.
The one of, I wish if I had my time again, that I could be the daughter I know I could be with my wisdom of today in those moments with her. I wish I'd supported her more. I wish I'd loved her more. I wish I'd been kinder to her. I wish I had shown more compassion and empathy and love. Would that be a correct statement?
Yeah. Yes, it would be.
Okay. So the next step is, am I that person? And you've very quickly said, I know I'm that person. I support lots of people now, but I didn't support my mum. So we then have to have forgiveness of self, because you no longer carry guilt around that type of behaviour, because that is not how you behave any longer in life. That was a chapter within, and a normal one within the development of many teenage girls. So releasing the guilt to yourself, it's forgiving yourself at a deeper level for what you did.
Yeah. And accepting it, because as I said to you earlier, I actually found this question a very difficult one. And I know that there's a whole load of stuff that I'm just not even looking at. It's all just, packed away in a little box somewhere that very rarely ever gets looked at. So yeah, I know it is a lot of deep emotions and deep stuff there.
I don't think it's going to be that hard for you to unpack this. You've got huge skills. You've done such a lot of self-development. I actually think that the inner child's freaking out a bit and going, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. But I actually think when you do choose to go there, it's actually not going to be as tough as you think it's going to be. Yes, there'll be some tears, there'll be some painful memories, but if you can put it into like compartments of name the emotion each time of what you're feeling, and it will be resentment that she made me behave like this. It's my right to behave like this because she was, the victim story. Let it come out in its full-blown anger. Own it. Yeah. Write it out. Journal it out. Get on the typewriter. The typewriter, God, what are we in? Get on the keyboard and type out your strong victim story as a 15-year-old. Then write your strong victim story as a 7-year-old. You made me grow up too quick. Now, 7 is the age that, usually around that age, that children start to leave the mother's aura. So that's when you start to actually stand in your own energy and can separate self from mother. And so you start to observe the mother rather than being in the mother's energy. And so as you observed it at 7, you're going, whoa, how's this fair? Write out those victim stories, get them out, and give them some love. Give that inner child some love, because all that's happening, those stories that you're not wanting to go there, is the inner child going, we don't want to go there because it's so painful. But really, your inner child just needs a voice. And so get those stories out and go, you know what, let's get the truth out. The truth of how you were feeling at 7. Let's get real, let's get honest. This is what we were feeling at 7. This is what we were feeling at 15. And this is what I'm feeling now. And you will find it will be very easily pieced together in forgiveness of self and forgiveness of mum. It's not going to take a lot of work, I don't think. But it is work to be done. You're not off the hook. It is work to be done.
I think that the 7-year-old and the 14-year-old, 15-year-old, I think they do not get much of a voice, like, at all. Like, they get quiet and very quickly, a lot of the time. So I think that would be a really good exercise to do, definitely. Because I've done the victim stories before, where I've just written, this is what I'm doing now and this is where I'm at now, but it's never sort of focused on one particular area. So kind of going back to that, I think would be really good.
I think it's going to be incredibly healing for you, and I think you'll just blurt it out as one great big vomit that comes out at the 7-year-old, and then there'll be another one at the 14, 15-year-old. But I actually think that you're going to find this very healing in your long-term relationships moving forward.
Okay.
I think that you'll find that this will be another layer of you being able to be more vulnerable, more authentic, you know, with love relationships in the future. And that's not just with, you know, a potential partner, but also with your girlfriends, with your family, with your dad, with the people that you love and are closest to. I think you're going to find those relationships are going to go even deeper and stronger than ever before, as because I feel like there's this little bit of holding back a little bit, because that little inner child voice is going, yeah, but people leave me because I'm not really good enough. That little voice.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to do these exercises sooner rather than later. Start with whichever one you feel most strongest. Probably, I think, the 15-year-old, 14, 15-year-old. Start with that one, because she's going to be pretty angry and she's going to spew out some venom. And it's time to get it out and let her be heard. And let her know that it's okay to speak this truth, because that's what she was feeling. And she didn't have the opportunity to be articulated as well as you'll be able to do now, and in a safe arena. And she is completely safe to be able to do this.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I know. I can just see myself. The second I start, it will just. It'll be like pages. I'll write pages and pages. Good. Yeah, I can just see it happen. I know when you do it, you do these things, and then like you just go about your day, and then it's like a couple of days later you notice the difference.
That's right.
And it's like you go, I'm acting completely differently because of that. Mm-hmm. And it's always like a surprise. It's always really interesting. So, okay. I think it's definitely when I talk about her, when it still gets brought up. People say, if I meet someone new, they're like, so what does your mum do then? Or, what about your mum? And it's like, oh, I hate it. Because, like, in the past, I've just lied and gone, oh, yeah, she's, because I don't want to introduce this person to that, and it's I brush it off because I don't want to discuss anything about that. I don't want to open up those boxes, and I'm just quite, but it's fine. So I think it would be nice to talk about her in a slightly more, in a different way, I think. So that
to have a softer, more loving and appreciative energy around it.
Yeah.
You will get there if you do the 2 exercises. So the first one, get the toxic out, get the victim story out. And then the second one is writing the gratitude, the beauty of her. And if you were to do them the other way around, if you were to do writing the beauty of her now, you couldn't. You're stuck. You'd really struggle. You would really struggle. But once you get the toxic out, you're going to be very surprised at how the memories of the beauty flood in.
Okay.
And they've been suppressed because she doesn't deserve that.
That's what the 15-year-old is saying.
Yeah. Whereas what you want as the beautiful adult that you are is to be able to see life with clearer eyes as it is. for what it is.
Yeah.
And see that, and that means the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, the beauty, the ugly. So you've hung on to the ugly. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to balance it out with the beauty as well.
Awesome. Okay. Sounds good.
Beautiful. I look forward to that working well for you. Thanks, Catherine. Catherine has since shared with me and given me permission to share with you all that she did complete the 2 writing exercises, and since then, for the first time ever, been to visit her mum's grave and placed flowers on it. A gorgeous healing outcome from a brave I'm sorry story.
Intention affirmation for the week.
Mastering the art